Hey everyone, it's Ambrosia, aka Shug. Um, I've been thinking a lot lately about honesty and trust and how we show up in relationships, both with others and with ourselves. And today I want to share something with you that's personal. It's about my past, and because I believe that understanding where we've been helps us to figure out where we're going. When I was a kid, my life was anything but what it should have been. I wasn't raised in a family that was built on trust, honesty, or love. Um, from a very young age, I was taught that everything wasn't what it seemed. I was told that I shouldn't call my dad dad because my grandparents were racist, and living with my mom and and she was doing that to so that I could have both a father and grandparents. And can you imagine being told that you can't call the person who's supposed to be your father by the name that feels natural simply because other people's hatred? Like, that's crazy. I mean, now, but then it was, I didn't realize what it was, and that's just was reality. But the reality is my mom had a choice. When she found out she was pregnant with me, her family told her they would disown her if she kept me and stayed with my dad. Well, she was put in this horrible position to choose her family, um, or to choose me, which I can understand choosing your family, but come on now, when you got a kid, that should all change. And while I wish I could say that she made the choice to protect me, the truth is she chose her family. She didn't want to lose them, and I guess that's something that I will never fully understand. Um, I was just a child, and I was the one who lost out. And as a result, I grew up in an environment where I was surrounded by deception, lies, and confusion. Nothing was ever what it seemed to be. And I knew it, and I knew it. I watched my mom make that decision, and at that time I couldn't fully comprehend that. But now looking back, I realized that in some ways she wasn't doing what was best for me. She was doing what was best for her based on her own needs and her own fears. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Um, to realize that your own mother, the one person who was supposed to protect you, could make the decisions that actually harm you, and simply because she wanted to keep her life in order, and to keep from avoiding pain, um, of losing people who frankly didn't care about her and didn't care about me. That betrayal shaped me in ways I didn't fully understand until much later in life. It made me disrespectful. I could not count on anyone. I couldn't rely on anyone. I learned early on that if I wanted something real, I had to find it within myself, because I sure wasn't going to find it from anyone else. And this is where my understanding of boundaries began to form. Um, at a very young age, I realized that everything around me was built on lies, and I hated it. But I also realized something else. I realized that I didn't have to live like that. I didn't have to carry those same destructive patterns moving forward. Uh, I didn't have to follow the path of dishonesty, manipulation, and silence. And I could choose something different. Uh, but but as okay, well, but then, as if that wasn't enough, my reality got even darker. I was beaten both by my mother and my father. The pain wasn't just physical, it was emotional. It was the kind of pain that burrows deep down into your soul, the kind that makes you believe you're unworthy of love, respect, and safety. And so I had to grow up pretty fast. And when I was 11, the state came and took me out of my home. I was placed into foster care, and I thought that was going to be my escape, but it wasn't. Uh, Even in the foster homes, even in the group homes, I was still in an environment that mirrored the dysfunction I'd come from. The lies, the neglect, the abuse, they were all around me. The racism, I lived in a racist foster homes, uh, and it was on top of that Christian homes. And I felt like I couldn't escape it, no matter how hard I tried. But something started to shift in me, something deep inside started to grow. And I realized that the one thing I had control over, the one thing nobody could take from me, was the way I chose to respond to it all. See, I couldn't control the people around me. I couldn't control the situations that happened to me. But I could control how I lived my life, how I treated others, and how I allowed others to treat me. And that's where my boundaries really began to shape. Um, you see, boundaries aren't just about saying no to people. They're about saying yes to yourself, saying yes to your peace, yes to your worth, and yes, you deserve, and yes to what you deserve in life. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. I had to protect my heart, my mind, and my soul because honestly, there weren't many people around me who were doing that for me. Over time, I became very clear on who I was and what I wanted from relationships. I'm very transparent with people now when I meet someone, whether it's for a relationship or something more, or a friendship or something more, I let them know exactly who I am. I let them know my boundaries, my values, and what I will and what I won't tolerate. I've learned that if I am not upfront, I give people the space to hurt me, to take advantage of my kindness, and to disrespect my boundaries. And that's not to say I'm perfect. I'm still learning. But I've come to realize that being open and vulnerable does not mean you should just share everything with everyone. Some things are sacred. Some things are for you and you alone, and that's okay to keep those things private. But but when it comes to who I am and as or become when that comes to who I am as a person, my values and what I stand for, I make crystal clear from the beginning those things. And here's the things that I've learned, that not everyone will meet you at the level you're at. Not everyone will be ready to show up the way you need them to. And that's okay too. I've stopped expecting that from people. But what I've started doing is showing up for myself in ways I never did before. I don't wait for others to validate me. I don't need everyone to approve of me or my decisions. I've learned that my worth is not up for debate. Now, as much as I've had to create boundaries to protect myself, that doesn't mean I've closed myself off. I've simply learned the hard way that some people respect those boundaries and others won't. But I know that I deserve the ones who do. Um, so if you're watching this and you have ever felt like you couldn't trust anyone, or you've been through things that made you question your worth, just know that you are not alone. Our stories are different, but the pain, the betrayal, and the healing are part of the same journey. And here's the most important thing I've learned: you have the power to decide who gets to be a part of your life. You have the power to set those boundaries. You have the power to be open, to be vulnerable, and let let others in, but only when you feel safe to do so. So if you're working on creating a healthy boundary or healthy boundaries, if you're trying to find your way through the world that hasn't always been very kind, it I just want you to know that your past does not define you. It shapes you, yes, but it doesn't control you. You have the power to create the life you deserve. So, as I've shared with you today, I've had to navigate a lot of challenges in my life. And as I continue on this journey, one thing that becomes more and more important to me is staying true to myself, no matter what. Something I have to remind myself constantly. You see, I have this strong urge, the need to remain authentic, especially when it feels like everyone around me isn't being transparent or just is kind of floating through life. It's like there's this deep urge to me to keep showing up as myself, honestly and authentically, even when it feels like I'm the only one doing it. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's very frustrating and exhausting when you're the only one constantly putting out your true self there, and you see others around you as being not being as open or as transparent as you wish they would be. But there's the thing I've realized, not everyone can or will be as transparent as I am, and that's okay, because I don't know who they maybe they don't know who they are yet, or maybe they haven't gone through what I've gone through, the kind of situations where you're forced to decide what you truly believe in, what you want, what you hate, what you'll never accept again. And when you put and when you're put in that position, you either choose to grow, to change, to embrace what's real for you, or just stay neutral or stay comfortable in uncertainty. But for me, I can't do it. I can't just exist without growing. I can't just sit still and accept everything is fine or just good enough. I have this fire inside me that drives me to keep evolving, to keep pushing myself beyond what I already know, beyond what I've already mastered. And I've learned that if you stop growing, even just for a moment, you stop living. The moment you think you've got it all figured out, the moment you think you've arrived, that's when you're really lost. You see, I don't ever want to stop growing. I don't ever want to stop learning, expanding, or becoming the best version of myself. Yes, it's difficult sometimes. Yes, it's frustrating when you feel like you're doing all these things, all this work to be real and authentic, and other people around you they may not be ready to do the same. But I believe in progress, and I believe in growth, and that belief in something that is something that keeps me moving forward even when it's hard. So I just want to leave you with this. Don't ever stop being yourself, no matter how tough it gets, no matter if you feel like you're the only one. Stay authentic to who you are and where you are going, because in the end, it's your truth, your growth, and your journey. And that's what matters most. And that's what will guide you towards the life you're meant to live. And if you're feeling frustrated or stuck, just remember that growth doesn't always look like progress. It doesn't always look like everything is going perfectly. Sometimes it's those quiet moments, the setbacks, the challenges that shape us the most. Okay? Thank you for listening and for being a part of my journey with me. If anything I've shared today resonates with you, or if you struggle to stay true to yourself, I want you to know that you are not alone. Drop a comment below and let's continue the conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because we're all in this together. And the more we support each other, the more we can grow, we can all grow. So I've shared with you today what I've navigated a lot of challenges in my life. And I want you to know that you will go through some challenges yourself, but we're here for you. I'm here for you. So have a good one. And until next time.